Hello and welcome to Cash Furnace. My name is Paul Konzerski, and together with my co-host Eric Downs, we aim to become your go-to source for daily stock and crypto market news. In today's podcast, we cover GameStop stock soaring by more than 60% in one day, Trump's impeachment. In crypto news, we have Grayscale Investments liquidating all of its XRP, and Bitcoin taking only 2% of the current gold market cap. Where do we see this going in the future? And we both have a couple charts that we're going to show you where we think we're going and what's been going on. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you see and you want the news to keep coming, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Help us run up this YouTube algorithm. Let's make some money. All right, Eric, you want to share first here?
Sure. All right. So we have top of the
evening.
That's what it is. I forgot what evening was called. In the top right hand corner of your screen here, we'll see GameStop. So GameStop saw an epic short squeeze today. Huge. I mean, and now short squeeze is if for our viewers who are not familiar, when a stock is heavily shorted, and by that, of course, that means traders have borrowed shares of the stock and sold it for the cash in expectation of the stock to go down so they can buy it back cheaper and pocket the difference. When a stock is heavily shorted, but something causes it, any sort of catalyst causes it to pop up, basically what can be triggered is called a short squeeze. And what happens is when the stock goes up, against these traders' wishes, eventually they'll start to have pain points where they're losing so much money that they just have to close out their position. Now, remember, to open their position, they sold stock. So to close their position, they have to buy stock. And what does buying stock do? It drives the price up. And it sort of turns into this gigantic melt up, volcano, like what cascading upward, very rapid price movement as all of these shorts start to get stopped out of their positions. And as we saw today, it can rocket a stock that's been lingering in the teens for months into up 60% in a day. And if you were riding that train, man, good for you.
Yeah. I don't know how you saw it, but
I've known about this for a little while. Wall Street Bets is very hot on it. They've been tracking it, doing a lot of DD, to be honest. There are also technical indicators that are actually designed just for this, but because I don't ever play short squeezes, like it's not something I look for, I don't use that technical indicator. TTM squeeze is the name. But if you look back in history, you do a little bit of Googling, you find that there have been some absolutely incredible short squeezes over time. And, some in our recent history include stocks like Tesla, Netflix. A lot of these stocks have seen the short squeezes happen. But to our listeners out there, when you're done with this video, I encourage you to look up the Volkswagen short squeeze.
That's legendary.
That one, that's legendary.
That was in a hell of a bear market too.
Yeah, that was. I honestly don't even remember all the stats on it, all the numbers and figures. But oh my god, like that was whenever the first time I ever learned about a short squeeze, which was probably like 5 years ago or something like that. Volkswagen was the story that everyone references. I'm not going to give it away for our listeners, but I encourage you to look it up because it is absolutely epic. So
another thing for the listeners to note here is that you don't actually have to even trigger your buys when a stock gets short squeezed by this much, right? A lot of times what you're doing is you're buying on margin, shorts on margin, and when it hits a certain price, whatever you're utilizing, whatever why can't I think of the name right now? Fidelity,
brokerage.
Yes, whatever brokerage you're using, if you don't have the liquid capital to ride this out,
Mhm.
they're gonna make you buy as it rides up anyway. So a lot of times you don't even have the choice. You can't even sit back unemotionally and say, "Hey, this is a short squeeze. I'm gonna be okay." You get screwed along with everybody else. So
Yep. It's a very unique market mechanic. And although it doesn't happen often, when it does, it is always typically very epic. And
oh
today
yeah.
we got to see one of those play out, man. They're always a treat. So look, man, if you
So was there anything in the article specifically you wanted to bring up that had specific points to this,
well,
or you just wanted to bring up the short squeeze itself?
well, interestingly enough, the article actually basically cites an analyst who says like, yes, today was definitely a short squeeze for sure.
Mm,
Um, but what that analyst was positing was basically that this is just the I think he called it a tidal wave or tsunami of longs getting in,
right.
which sort of fueled
Right.
it
Yep.
because it wasn't just a fluke today that GameStop just happened to pop up for no good reason. They've had some I think they've had some shuffling of their board, and they saw. I remember same store growth. I believe year over year was up like over, was it 300 or 400%? Either way, triple digits, quite a lot. There are a lot of metrics that are actually working very well for GameStop, and then not the least of which is their sort of their overall transition um, to adopt sort of more of a digital business model versus a strictly brick and mortar. So
Mm,
make no mistake, this wasn't just some kid shooting off a firecracker in the back alley. This is a full blown fireworks show. It was playing, it's very intentional. What I'm really curious about is what this means, well, how it's going to play out, because most of the time short squeezes, when they rock it up, they rock it back down, because the fundamental value of that stock lies closer to where it started. But
right.
now it's shot up into the air, and there's a lot of new speculation on this company's increased underlying value. And so I'm really curious to
Right.
see how it behaves, if it holds its level where it's at, or if it drops, where it drops to and how fast. So it's not something that I want to necessarily, I'm not going to trade it. It's a little bit,
Yeah.
I'm not very risk averse, but it is outside of my profile, but I will, I'll gladly watch and enjoy the show.
I mean, just aftermarket, it's showing a little bit of strength here. So who knows? Maybe it'll ride around $30. Of course, it's going to come down a little bit, but maybe it'll ride at 30 for a while.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see it play out. I'm just thinking, looking at that chart with how close, how tight those Bollinger Bands were yesterday, man.
Mhm.
If you had an option, if you timed this perfect with
Oh,
IV being so low
yeah.
and a 60% bump, I can't even imagine
Uh,
what some of the profits were off this.
all I can say is, if you would like to our viewers and listeners out there, if you would like to how do I say, get a better picture of what it looks like to ride something like this profitably, just head on over to our favorite subreddit, Wall Street Bets, where there are numerous how do I say, numerous members of that subreddit who are posting their gains. And it was a lucrative day. It was a lucrative day. It was a six-figure day for a lot of these people who timed it right. So kudos,
Yep.
hats off to you guys.
All right.
What's
Moving
next,
on. I
Colin?
know you also wanted to briefly talk about CCIV here in your bottom right corner.
Well, you know what,
Oh, in
CCI,
bottom
yeah,
left.
it's bottom left and bottom right. Bottom left, we got an hourly chart here over the last 3 days, and then down here we got the minute chart. Actually, I don't know why I have the minute chart up here. Let's take it to something a little bit more reasonable. So CCIV is something that's been sort of on the back side of my radar. And Paul, you brought it up today, just this morning, pre-market.
Mm,
And I remember, oh yeah,
yes.
I haven't looked into that in a while, because I knew even a while back there were the rumors about them merging with or acquiring rather Lucid.
Mm.
And so I was like, oh, you know what? So I quickly, hopped on, read some articles, hopped on Lucid's site just to see kind of like what they're all about, what they're up to, and what kind of technology they're dealing with. And I was like, oh, okay, this there might be something to this. So I jumped in right at market open. Actually, it might have been pre-market.
Yep.
I'm not sure. I don't know if I have to check my timestamp. And I was like, cool. I'll open a position. It's just kind of like it's a lotto. It's a I don't want to call it a FOMO position, but it's just like, look, I'll just put a little money aside. We'll see if something rides. And I'll be damned. Today, what did it end up at on the day?
We ended right at what's that say? 1674. And I believe when you and I got in, it was still just below 15. It was in the 1480s or 14.
Yeah, I got in just over 15. It was up 18% of the day, up 11% after hours. And here's the thing. The first thing you want to do in the circumstances with the SPAC, you got to know, like, is this normally pops like this happen because a rumor comes out, or something's confirmed. Oh, cool. We found the company we're going to acquire. Like, people jump in for good news. Paulie, I don't know if you did any searching, but I did. And you want to know what I found? Take a guess.
Nothing.
That's exactly right. I found absolutely nothing. I found a short article. It said CCIV is up on rumor that it's going to be acquiring Lucid. I'm like, I've read that before. That's not.
So here's the kicker, right? And to our audience, this is why it's always helpful to. I respect the people that run this game by themselves, but you grow your network, and your network, it feeds you, man. I got a tip from a good friend who happens to know some people that this morning would be a very good time to buy. And going off of that and nothing else, I bought in, right?
Yep.
Now it could have very well gone the opposite. But what I think this is Lucid company employees not being able to keep their mouth shut. And many people buying in, knowing that this merger is going to go through now. So hey, whatever advantage you could get in this market, take it, because it can make you some money.
Yep. And hey, like you said, Paulie, it's a testament to the power of friends, the power of network. For our aspiring trader viewers out there, go ask around, let people know what you're in, that you're whatever level you're at, let people know. Find your network, find your crew, because your crew is going to just exponentially increase your brain power, your vision, your radar, and you guys are going to hear and see things that you wouldn't hear alone, like Paulie said. And today's a phenomenal example.
And don't be afraid if you're not great, if you're just losing money, if you're funding your account with your bank account right now, right? Just to stay alive. Guess what? Every single person has done this.
Yep.
Every single person pays that cost of tuition. Don't be embarrassed by it. Share it. Learn from like-minded people. And I guarantee you'll learn 10x faster than you ever would have. 100%. We were just saying this in the chat today, Eric.
Yep, that's right.
We were talking. I was talking about how I've been quite good in crypto, but that's after years of experience and honestly not really knowing much, just pure time spent in. And if I had a group like this, where I've learned more about stocks and options and what to look for in IV and the Greeks and everything within these last, 6 months we've known each other, not even.
Yeah.
If I had done that in the crypto market, I have no doubt I would be 5x where I am today, just based off that. So
yeah, but we all start somewhere, man. And
that's Paulie, exactly right.
I'm glad we're in each other's crew, man.
Agreed. So let's move on to the big news for the day.
Please.
Trump has been impeached for a second time.
Second time. That's a world record.
What do you think this means for the stock market?
Man, you know what? I think it means absolutely nothing. I really do. Unless something wild is exposed, in this impeachment, because he's being impeached for inciting violence.
Right.
And he has how many days left? Like,
I honestly don't know. I
at
don't follow
this
politics
point,
very much.
I mean, at this point, this is a feather in the country's cap, and what's
Right.
interesting is, I think I saw that it's 10 more Republicans than the last impeachment, right? Oh my God, how many times can you say that about president? Oh, there's 10 more Republicans the second time around they impeached him.
Right.
10 more Republicans joined up on the side of pro impeachment, which I can't help but wonder, like, they know, look, I'm no political expert, but in my layman perception, I don't see any true consequence of impeachment at this point if he's already on his
Yeah.
way
Right.
out, aside from like stripping him from any power and sort of putting some handcuffs on him before he does something stupid in the last week that he's here, which I suppose
Right.
is a fair argument. But when I heard that more Republicans are joining the impeachment side, all I could think of is just like that is just them trying to garner public favorable public image and vote and
Mm.
things like that, because they just want to get on board with this easy win. This is an easy slam dunk, and all they have to do is just
Right.
put their name on it, and they
So bringing this back to the market, I think you and I feel very much the same way with both markets, is that basically it's already priced in. I don't know anybody. I didn't get a single text today saying, "Hey, can you believe Trump got impeached?"
same.
I only even learned about it because I was on YouTube before we recorded this podcast, and I was like, "Oh shit, Trump got impeached again."
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
That was my entire fucking reaction. That's it. Nothing. I don't think the markets are going to move because of him. I just think it is what it is, and this is some acting, if you will. So it's going to be a non-factor, I believe.
Yeah.
Now, if we're wrong, right, we're going to see gold, silver, all of the safety stocks shoot up. Hell, maybe Bitcoin will shoot up too because of it. But I really don't think, and I've seen no reactions to justify that kind of price action in any market.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, man. I mean, at this point, it's great theater, it's great entertainment for us, but it's not doing anything to our accounts.
I completely agree. All right,
Let's hop over to your stuff, man. You got the cool stuff. I want to hear about yours.
Okay. So let me know when you can see this screen here. So first thing I want to talk about is good old XRP, everybody's favorite investment, right? So Grayscale, as we all know, has been absolutely leading the charge on cryptocurrency investing and basically offering trust to everyone in the stock market who didn't want to personally go in and buy a Bitcoin on one of the Bitcoin exchanges. They don't want to deal with the hassle of taking it offline or keeping it in an exchange where it could potentially get hacked. Grayscale basically offers these trusts at a premium, mind you. You're not buying a Bitcoin at the exact price. I believe it's about a 20% markup just to invest through
20%.
Grayscale. Yeah. And Grayscale has its GBTC,
right?
And then they had GXRP as well.
Mm-hmm.
So because of the SEC, for all of you that don't know, the Security and Exchange Commission basically filed a lawsuit late December alleging that XRP token is indeed a security under the US law, meaning that it was made specifically to make money and make people money. And it's not a currency per se, and it can't be qualified as such. Now, because of this, and a lot of XRP is getting delisted from all the American exchanges. I believe on the 19th is the final day you'll be able to sell or buy XRP. Because of this, obviously, an American company like Grayscale wants to take this fund away, dilute it, be done. So everybody's essentially that bought in to the XRP fund, they are getting cash back from Grayscale at its current price, and it's going to fold. The interesting thing I wanted to bring up is that the US is the only country in the world that has classified XRP as a security. We actually just had a filing in the UK classifying it as money. So there are some interesting divergence in the US, the way they're seeing XRP. And what's also interesting is XRP has been hit at every point in turn with more and more hurdles from our government, yet they still choose to be based in the United States. They could have gone to Japan, which is very, very crypto friendly. They could have gone over to Europe, which is semi crypto friendly, but certainly more friendly than the US has been in the past couple of years. Which leads to me speculating, what does this really mean, right? Does this mean that potentially XRP, Ripple see the new governmental changes like we talked about yesterday, right? With the new head of the SEC coming in. Do they see the US becoming crypto friendly all of a sudden? Maybe they're holding out for that because they still haven't announced. They're still going to stay based in the US regardless of the filing of this lawsuit, whatever the outcome may be. And they've been hit significantly. I believe we were at 60 cents before the SEC lawsuit began, and then we dropped all the way down to 20.
Wow.
And we there was a little bit of a dead cat bounce to 30 for everyone watching. Dead cat bounce, when you hit a very solid floor of resistance, you'll almost always get a little bit of a bump up from that floor. Good way to make some quick cash if you're ever looking for it and you could identify that floor.
Because even that will bounce.
That's absolutely right.
That's
but yeah, it makes me really speculate. What are they seeing and why are they staying here?
Yeah.
We don't even have the best crypto developers in the world. They're not located in the United States, not right now. So interesting to think about.
Polly, question as a crypto amateur. I actually used to have Ripple. I actually still might. I mean, I should. I mean, it's probably worth nothing now.
You should check. Yes.
I used to have some in Binance, and I think I probably forgot about it. I'm sure it wasn't much. But can you refresh for me and for all the crypto amateurs out there? Can you refresh me on what the what the flagship feature of Ripple was?
Ease of use, very low fees, and in the beginning they had a lot of banking backing, right? Between major banks.
I remember that.
So there was the CEO of Ripple way back in 2017 said that by 2018, 1 in every 10 banks would be utilizing Ripple as their cryptocurrency of choice for transactions. Now, the entire time this coin has been around, everybody in the crypto community has hated it because it's not a decentralized coin. They can make XRP at will, which is why banks love it.
I do remember that. Yep.
So there has been this giant war of people screaming shitcoin their whole life, or for the whole life cycle of the coin. And and then you have the other people who are the XRP maximalists when it went to $3 a coin, claiming this is going to go to 100. I'm all in, blah, blah, blah. And then they lost a shitload of money because it went from $3 all the way down to, I believe, 11 cents. And it stayed there for a long time.
Jeez, dude.
I think the latest pop in this run, it ran up to right around 90 cents. And even I didn't believe in the project, but I saw money-making potential in the project, right? So I had quite a few Ripple, and I bought and sold during that whole run and everything. But this lawsuit outcome is, and we'll see. Bitcoin market cap has only taken 2% currently of the gold market cap, according to new data that just came out. So at the current price of where we're at, 37,000 right now, it's saying we've only taken 2% of gold market cap. And the potential, if we take a mere 10% of the gold market cap, is 154,000. And I don't find that price anymore. I can't believe I'm saying it. I don't find that crazy this year, which is unbelievable to think about, because our generation now is no longer thinking of gold as a reasonable store of value. Think about it.
Yeah.
You go and say, I could take my ledger, I could stick it in my pocket, and I could travel to any country around the world, and I could exchange Bitcoin anywhere, right? You can't do that with bars of gold. And if you go to a corrupt country, people are going to scan your bag, see bars of gold in there instead of this tiny little USB device, and they're going to, take a little bit off the top. It's kind of just the cost of entry. Meanwhile, you have a ledger which only has a passphrase, a very long passphrase that can't be hacked. You can travel with your entire net worth in your fucking pocket of millions of dollars, unlimited coins in your pocket, compared to gold, silver, all of the other traditional stores of value. Yeah, so I think this 10%, I think it's only going to go up as our generation, the younger generation, starts to gain wealth and put that wealth into an asset that they believe is going to go up massively, right? Outperform pretty much anything else. And B is the easiest way to travel with your wealth out there.
Wow. I mean, dude, when you the only thing that comes to mind, I think you're right. What comes to mind is just like the realization that gold has been the standard for how many hundreds of years, right?
Absolutely.
It's everything that all our societies are built on. And we happen to be alive at the potential moment when it gets overtaken.
For the next turning point, I completely agree. I think it's unbelievable opportunity provided to us, to all the listeners, right? Just because everybody says, oh, this has been the go-to for years. Absolutely, it has been. But just because it has been doesn't mean it's going to continue to do so, right? Horses and buggies were the standard for how many hundreds of thousands of years until the automobile came around, and people felt the same way. They're like, oh, this isn't going to replace anything. Right. Who's riding a fucking horse now? Nobody, except the uber rich who decide, hey, horse is a pretty nice thing to have, I guess, right?
Well, Ollie, so again, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to kind of continue on that analogy. Just because something has always been that way doesn't mean it's going to continue to do so. And having that maybe kind of in the back of your mind at all times, there will be other opportunities like this. I don't know in the financial system, but somewhere in our future, Eric, we will see another opportunity pop up where we're like, can this really replace, the way, I don't know, housing has always been? And there's a high probability that something better will come along. We're in a society today that advances faster than ever, and the next generation is going to advance faster than we have advanced. It's the way it's always been, right? It's the way of technology, that exponential curve. So I guess if I could impart any advice, I guess, it would be just to keep an open mind, man, and don't be so steadfast in your ways with everything.
Well, Paulie, if I can ask you again as a resident crypto expert. So if, let's say, oh no, that's what you are, whether you like it or not.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
Chris is going to put that on the little title bar. PhD. So again, for the layman, which includes me, and I'm sure hopefully a bunch of our listeners here, from a practical standpoint, let's say Bitcoin or crypto does, let's say Bitcoin does start to eat away, it gains popularity and starts to eat away at gold's market cap, and it becomes more and more widely adopted, which I think we all want. That's it's a wonderful world.
Mm-hmm.
From a practical standpoint, do you recommend, like, for instance, I know that you invest in actual coin, whereas I invest in whatever Robinhood gives me.
You invest in trusts,
in a trust,
just like
right?
Grayscale, just like GBTC. Right. Yeah,
exactly. Which, by the way, I meant to ask earlier, why the hell would anyone pay 20% premium just to get into it when they could do it for no premium on Robinhood? Anyway, whatever, man.
Because not everybody has Robinhood and Weibo. You got to think the old baby boomer generation.
I know.
They're not in that. They're not in all the new tech.
So
they're just using what's provided.
I know. God, good for Grayscale, just preying on them. So, but practically speaking, let's say you really want to bet that Bitcoin's going to actually take over as a dominant currency. The move to, instead of, is that the case? Sorry, is that the reasoning someone would want to buy actual coin versus investing in a trust? Because we know that we know that the return on your investment is going to be the same either way.
Right.
But if you actually think it's going to take over and become a dominant currency, that's the time that's the reason you would want to actually get coin instead of a trust. Am I right or no?
And that's yes. Well, one, yes, and two, if you invest in a trust, we've spoken about this separately before we've started going public with these podcasts. We tried out we had a couple trial runs, a couple paper trades. But you also don't own your coins, right? I don't think regulation at this point, too many big institutions are already in the game. I don't think regulation is going to go against Bitcoin, but say it ever did happen where wherever your local government decides to outlaw Bitcoin, you owning that trust are now fucked. Whereas I can continue to have my Bitcoin and trade it wherever it's legal, right? Because I own those addresses. They are in my ledger. They're in my pocket. I could, I don't know, fly out to Taiwan and exchange it for whatever their local currency is whenever I want.
Interesting.
That's the perks of it being decentralized, and that's the perks of owning it. A second factor to that is I believe that the future is going to hold there's going to be a lot of crypto lending, right? Where you get returns on lending out your crypto by keeping it in these exchanges. And there's already exchanges out there. One of the more popular ones is BlockFi right now. The only bad part about BlockFi is they're not FDIC insured. So you got to understand, you're keeping your money on an open exchange at that point. It can be hacked, it can be taken, and that money is not insured. So, but you look at it, right? And I think it's an inevitability that this is going to become FDIC insured. And looking at the rates right now, because I started putting some in there just to earn some interest, because why not, right? Not much, just some of my trading profits within the last month or so. But I'm earning 6% on my Bitcoin, 5.5% on my Ethereum, and 5% on my Litecoin. Now you show me a bank that's showing those sort of interest rates right now, also with an asset that's continually gaining in value, you're not going to find one.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Not with the US dollar. Right.
Boy.
Right. So you are losing money by keeping your money in the bank in cash by inflation and 0.01% interest, right?
Yep.
On your $100, congrats, you made a cent in a year while it devalued by
Degraded.
5%.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
yeah. So you actually only now have $95.01 of your $100 left. Or you put it in this crypto bank where you're earning at least more than inflation is going, even if the price of Bitcoin stayed completely neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the two big benefits right now.
Interesting.
So there will be a time where we hit a certain price point. There are enough people that bought in, and the more people that buy into Bitcoin and hold it and keep it and don't trade it, which is going up every single day, especially with institutions buying into it, the more level that these price fluctuations are going to be. And it will get to a point, right? We get this curve that eventually trails off, and we're going to stay flat relatively compared to what we're seeing now with these 30% dips and the craziness that everybody goes wild about, right? And panics over. And when we get to that point, the Bitcoin that you've bought in your portfolio is going to stop earning you any more money. Whereas I'll be able to put it in an interest account and earn on what I have.
Well, Paulie, I think you may have actually convinced me to take my fake Bitcoin out of Robinhood and put it back in an exchange or similar location. Well, I'll tell you what, I have one final question for you before that's all we have for today, right? That's a classic.
Yep, pretty much.
That's
not true. As much as I'd like to, I do want to show today's Bitcoin chart because we did just hit a very significant point over what we were talking about yesterday. So let me share my screen quick. So let's bring it up right here. What we were nervous of this building head and shoulders, right? And today we saw this consolidation into an ascending triangle, right?
Mm-hmm.
We broke out of that triangle. We hit the neckline of this W formation, broke through it, pulled back a little bit. And in the chat, we were talking about this. It confirmed to bounce off that neckline and shot right back up, right into that 38 range that we were talking about on yesterday's podcast. So there are always ways to make money in this market, guys. You got to back test any theories you have. You got to look at past price action. You got to think about people's psychology, right? We were talking about that. This was pretty much all retail, the ride up and the ride down. So it was the same as the 2017, and just keep up to date on the news, which is what we're trying to provide for everyone, because we want everybody to make some money, right?
Yeah.
So just a quick little update. And the one thing we have to look out for now in the future, right? We test this range between right around 38 to 40K. There is a potential, because 40K is a very, very psychological resistance level, that we bounce off this 40K and drop hard again. And just remember, we have this ascending line of support, so you could play it off there if we bounce there. And if we go below that to 26, fucking buy in, people. That will be your last chance to get this at bargain basement prices, man. Because after that, we're going on the next leg up, and the next couple of days, let's watch these levels. We'll see where we go. Traditionally, China, when they're waking up, they have been selling their Bitcoin like crazy right now, which is what begins a lot of these downturns. But just keep vigilant and keep hodling, baby, because we're
Keep
we're still
hodling.
going up. Few months time, it's gonna be a blip in the radar.
Great advice. Great advice as always, Paulie.
So we'll end it there. Again, I just want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in today. Again, like, comment, subscribe if you can. I believe me and Eric are going to start building some additions for our audience for you guys to capitalize on learning and whatnot. But that's to come in the future. For now, we're just gonna keep these updates, this news coming to you, these chart analysis, and let's all make some money, baby.
Let's make some money, baby.
See you tomorrow.